Grahm.
Well,
Let's
that's
go and
why we
check.
can check.
Let's
Check.
go and
Check
check.
one.
Let's see if we're actually live. Oh, look at that. Cavelli is live. Kevin Hughes is live. Cavelli's
Oh my
live.
God.
Everybody's live.
It's
Hello.
working.
Welcome, everybody, to take 2 of the first ever spiritual chat with Kevin and Grahm. How you doing, Grahm?
Good. Come on, we gotta share with everyone. We thought we were live for like 5 minutes, and we
At
were
least
just
5
going
minutes.
at it. And then Kevin's like, "We're not live."
And guys, it was inspirational. You
was
missed
good
it all.
content.
It was like the
It was
best
great
content ever on Facebook, Twitter, anything. It was the best content ever. And of course, it was my fault.
It's
I
okay.
changed my passwords on Facebook 2 days ago and didn't update restream, which is what we use to actually broadcast. So yeah, oops. So now we're live for the first time ever. And I know we're live because I can see we have 4 people actually following us, which is nice. People, you're going to have to excuse my cough. I'm going to try not to, but as most people know, I'm still suffering from what they call long COVID. So again, welcome to the first ever spiritual chat with Kevin and Grahm. We're going to try doing this at least probably once a month, I think. We'll see. It could be twice a month, but I think right now it's going to be once a month. Am I correct, Grahm?
Oh, that sounds good.
And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to chat.
We're just going to chat about stuff. And today, in particular, we're going to be talking about what it's like for us, like as readers giving readings, like what's it like for us as we're connecting with people as guides and loved ones? What does that feel like, or how? Talking a little more in depth about like what that process is like for us as channelers and people giving readings. And we'll also kind of do a little sample reading on each other, kind of showcasing what it's like for us.
And it's important to realize, I know a lot of times when people are talking psychics, mediums, channelers, they think it's a quotation marks gift. It's really not. Everybody has the gift. It's whether you choose to hone it or not. Both Grahm and I, totally different ages, obviously. He's way older, I'm way younger. We both chose pretty much at the same time, too, to hone our skill. We took courses with a gentleman named Ken Lewicki, who we'll get into later. No, we'll talk about later. We literally chose to hone our skills, similar to a doctor going to school and learning to be a doctor, a hockey player learning to be a hockey player. It's the same way.
Practice.
So just some introductions first. Of course, my name's Kevin Hughes. I am from Airdrie, Alberta, Canada. Did you notice how I said Canada? I almost sounded American there, buddy. I'm just outside of Calgary. And Grahm, you are from, where are you from?
I am near Rochester, Minnesota in the United States, so the northern U.S. And yeah.
So he's just as cold as we are, guys.
Almost.
Mind you didn't get the foot of snow that we got.
Yeah, we haven't had snow in a while.
Like, what was that, Monday? Tuesday. It was Tuesday. We got 10 inches, 11 inches of snow. It was stupid.
Yeah.
It was crazy. When we're talking about, it's really easy for you and I to be able to say, oh yeah, we connect with our spirit guides. And we understand. We know right away. We understand.
Speak for yourself, Kevin. I still have my days.
We all have our days. But when I say I'm connected to my spirit guides, you immediately understand what I mean. Yes. Most people who haven't channeled don't understand. What's the easiest way to describe connecting with your spirit guide?
Yeah. For me, like when I'm connecting with my guides, or just any guides in general, I typically, it starts just by me setting the intention that I want to connect with my guides. So just setting that intention, and then typically feel one of my guides coming forward, and typically I feel them around me. So just like it just feels like there's a presence kind of coming forward, and like a little bit of like a pressure kind of that feels like someone's there.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. And that's like, I can feel this thing. And typically they are behind me, to my sides, and kind of like above. So like somewhere in this kind of area. And like my one primary guide tends to come in the same kind of location over here on my left side.
And when you say primary guide, just so people understand, in any given chapter of your life, you can have 3 to 5 guides. Some people have a more, but on average, it's 3 to 5. Your primary guide is your main guide. That's the boss. That's he's in charge of it. It's funny because with my guides, when I'm doing a reading, my guides always hang out on my left side. My clients' guides always on my right side, and I think that's because I have to know exactly where they are, so I understand that.
Well, that helps it keep it simpler for you.
Exactly, and I'm a
other
simple
people's
guy.
are over there and yours are over here. That just makes it easier.
Well, exactly, and people always say, "Well, how do you know you're getting a message?" I think that by far that's the hardest question to answer for me, because I get the clairvoyant. So that's it's in your mind's eye, and you just know. Is that the right way to say that, Grahm? I feel like,
well, if you're doing clairvoyant, you're seeing it, and then you're
I was wrong. So what is it when it's just in your
just
head?
Just knowing. That's claircognizant.
Claircognizant. Thank you. I always get the clairs mixed up. That's why we have Grahm here. That's why we have Grahm. So I don't have a lot. I mean, I do sometimes get the verbal, but most of the time it's knowing, or I get symbols, whether it be pictures or something that I would relate to when I get a message.
And for me, it's typically a lot of clairaudient, of literally just feeling whoever's guide it is or my guide, and then hearing them. It just sounds like thoughts in my head, but it's with whatever guide's kind of voice or like energy, I guess. And then also clairsentience I use a lot. So just like it's interesting, just like feeling what they're saying. Like I feel like they're saying this, and
or they're making me feel.
Yeah, or making me feel like they think that like this job is a good one, or they make me feel like that. No, that job, I don't get a good feeling from them on that, and
people have to understand we're not always nobody. I don't care who you've gone for a reading with. I don't care how famous that person might be. Nobody ever is 100% accurate. It's just like we're human. We're fallible. We're going to make mistakes. And Grahm and I, it was funny because
miscommunication.
Or we interpret that the wrong way. Today I was doing a reading and I was showing my old neighborhood in East Vancouver. And so to me it was, did you live in East Vancouver? And he's like, no, I've never lived in East Vancouver. And I went, oh, then what does East Vancouver have to do with you? Turns out that's where he takes his martial arts training and boxing. He does in East Vancouver. So, he didn't live in East Van, but East Van had something to do with it. So it's that interpretation. I believe when we were chatting earlier, Grahm, you had said it's like putting a puzzle together.
Yes, it can be like that, like figuring out what does, like in this example you're using, East Vancouver, but like what particularly does that mean? Or like sometimes it can be anything, or like.
And why are they bringing this up at this point?
Or like I think something that maybe that's happens in readings I do is like, okay, like they're just giving me the feeling that maybe it's your relationship with your partner. It's kind of rocky right now. And then like typically a lot of times like guides will just give me kind of something more general like that to start. And then
Yes.
they'll be like, yeah, it has been like that. And then, okay, what else? What else?
And
Like
then it gets more
further,
detailed,
more
more detailed.
detailed
I always say
typically.
we go down that rabbit hole, and sometimes we don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but we end up down that rabbit hole. And
I'll go down the rabbit hole, sure.
sometimes it's fun.
Yeah.
um, do you want to do like a quick demonstration on
Yeah.
how you would do a reading for me, and then I'll do a quick one on you? Does that sound like a good way to
Yes,
kind
that
of?
sounds perfect. So we're just gonna give you guys. We kind of want to do an example of like, okay, what does a reading look like from a practitioner's perspective,
Yeah.
and like what goes on. So I'll do a quick little reading for Kevin and really kind of talk through and like break down like what I'm experiencing and how
Yeah,
I'm
you're
getting
going
the
to narrate what's
messages.
happening.
Yeah, I'm really gonna
Yeah.
narrate like how um it's happening, and then Kevin will do the same, and then you'll be able to see that like because everyone does it in their own unique
Yes.
way, the way that's like most appropriate for them and uses
And you'll
whatever.
notice with Graham and I, there's no crystal ball, there's no candles, there's no, there's none of
Sure.
that stuff. I was going to swear, Graham. I didn't. I was good. There's none of that. It's because it it doesn't have to be like that if we don't want it to be. It doesn't have to be Hollywoodish or theatrical,
Yeah, no, it's
right?
really much more simple than that. It's really just the
Yeah.
intention. Literally, bringing one of your guides forward, and then yeah. But let's
Let's do
dive
it.
into it. How
Go for
about
it.
it?
Give it a
Okay,
shot, buddy.
connect with one of your guides here. Okay. So I'd already kind of felt Kevin's guide before, even right now, because I had connected with him a little earlier just to kind of ensure that that connection was there. But I feel Kevin's guide like right in this area behind me, and kind of like almost like right whispering in my ear, like really, really close behind my head. And this definitely feels like a male guide for me, is just kind of the energy he's admitting. And it also just the feeling I get from this guide is just like a business orientated guide. Like that's kind of what he helps Kevin with. Um,
So I'm going to interject so people know. I have numerous guides, obviously, just like everybody else. He didn't connect with my main guide. He literally connected with my career/business guide. Does both.
yeah. Um, and so now I'm getting like a clairaudient message from Kevin's guide, and so I'm just hearing like the as I'm focusing in on where I feel Kevin's guide right here behind me. I focus in on Kevin's guide, and I just am hearing the message that like Kevin's guide is encouraging him to kind of ramp up what he's doing with his channeling work and like the business aspect of it, even more so. Um, what else? He seems like, and then also like a message I'm getting from Kevin's guide too is he's saying like toning down on the free content a little more and focusing on more like paid kind of endeavors.
Definitely. Definitely. I can feel that.
Yeah. And he also wants. Oh, he's saying. So we have an expo coming up where Ken Wickie's putting on an expo beginning of July.
July 2nd.
July 2nd in Canmore.
That is correct.
And Kevin and I will both be there. And right now I'm getting from Kevin's guide too. He's just sharing the message to me. It's through clairaudience again. I'm hearing it, but also like I can feel him giving the message too. And he's just saying, he's encouraging Kevin to do readings at that event too. Because I know you had talked about maybe not doing readings.
Yeah, it's funny because we literally, Ken and I have been going back and forth. I'm going to be the MC as well as Grahm and I are going to do a presentation while we're there, which is kind of cool.
He doesn't. Wait, are we doing one together?
You didn't know that yet, but yeah, my guide's kind of like, you weren't supposed to tell him that.
Okay, well, I'm down for whatever.
So we were kind of going back and forth about whether I should do readings or not. So that's interesting.
And I'm also, again, I use clairaudience a lot when I do messages. So it's honestly the one that comes through the most. And so now I'm getting to hearing your guide say, when you're doing readings for people, he's saying even focusing on more mediumship for clients. He's just saying like bringing through more mediumship when you're doing readings. What else? He's even saying too, even connecting with some of your past loved ones.
It's funny that you would say that because I haven't lately.
Yeah, yeah. He's saying like include them in as well.
Yeah. And I think that's where the medium, they want me to do more mediumship. It's more personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's saying just for your own like benefit and kind of the joy you get out of connecting with them and like the support aspect too.
So that in a nutshell, if you expand that out to an hour, that's how we do a reading. That's
you just keep on
that's
going.
That's how Grahm does a reading.
Yeah.
Are going to be a little different just because the way I connect is different. So I'm already connected to Graham's guides.
Well, I just want to share too that like each guide is a little different too, and each guide will communicate in different ways because they're their own.
Well, just like you and I communicate differently, right?
Right. So
they're going to communicate differently.
Yeah. But so take it away, Kevin, and
So when I connect, I usually before I do all my readings on Zoom. I have done some live, but 99% of my readings are on Zoom. So before I log on, I always check with their guides to make sure how they like to communicate best, so I can be prepared.
Wow, you do that?
Oh yeah, it just makes that way I'm not wasting time in the beginning trying to decipher. I know, okay, I'm going to get symbols, I'm going to get pictures, I'm going to get voices, I'm going to just know what to say.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never tried that.
Trying to describe how I connect with Grahm is so difficult. And as Grahm was explaining it, how he connects with me is because Grahm and I have been connected for 2 years. We both took courses through Ken pretty much at the same time, and we've grown into this basically at the same time, and we've really connected. We do sessions with each other. A lot of times we just laugh at each other. And lots of people have seen us do live mini readings as well. So when I say I'm connected to his guide, of course, his guide comes in and literally sits basically on my right shoulder. If you can picture someone's head just sitting on my shoulder. I don't see bodies, but it's like, that's how they feel. They just feel like they've got their head right in beside me, letting me know they're there. It's that as soon as I feel it, I can feel a warmth that you can't describe. It's not like a hot cloth or anything. It's just like a warm feeling coming over my right shoulder and into my chest. And you just instantly know, okay, I'm connected to the guides. And then you want to check to make sure, is it actually, are you actually Graham's guides? If they're not, and sometimes you'll misconnect, you'll know right away. It's just you get a bad feeling. You just go, ugh. No, that's not it.
Or
Of
the
course,
information just won't be accurate.
exactly. With Grahm now, I've connected with his main guide, and it's 99.9% of the time, anytime we connect lately, it's about Graham's schooling. It's like I'm freaking, I'm his school counselor or something, because it's like every time we were talking about his school, and Graham's decided to switch schools and literally do a 360 and change kind of what he was going to go to school for. You went a year? You did 1 year, then you've made a decision on what major you're going to take?
Yeah, because I had one more year of generals to complete, but I was planning on going the social work route, but then the last month I'd been exploring more options and some different options.
And your guide's making me feel the communication route that we talked about is just now he's like, I don't want to talk about that anymore. And guides will do this when we're doing a reading. We'll be talking about something, and a lot of times, especially myself, just because anybody that knows me knows that I'll babble on, and they'll literally make me like choke or interrupt me in some way so they can change the subject. That's what his guide just did, just to show me, so I could explain that. And he wants to talk about housing with you. You asked me before we went on the air. We were right in the middle of talking about which place was the best. Did you look at something with a 2-bedroom or 2 rooms? There was one with just like a studio, but then was there another one with like a separate bedroom?
I mean, I've been kind of like a 2-bedroom place has been kind of something I've been considering, but I haven't. The 2 places I've been looking at, one's a 4-bedroom, and then the other one is a really funny story. This lady, and she has a trailer, and she has a room there for rent too. And
so the 4-bedroom, it's like it's student housing. Different students would be in each.
I would be with other students. Yeah,
I'm literally seeing you. They're showing me like a small apartment with a bedroom, a kitchen, like a full small apartment. And it's really close to your school. They're making me feel it's close to your school. You haven't physically gone and looked at it, but you've seen it online. Shows you how old I am, eh? They're actually showing me a newspaper.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right? And that's my cue for he's seen it, hasn't physically been there. He's just looked at it. So
they're saying kind of more like a 2-bedroom kind of route.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Like I feel like I'd like that more, not having as many people around. It would
and
just
that's
be,
the key.
Because I get just overstimulated easily.
That's exactly why they had suggested going that route with only one other student, one other roommate. They're saying, because it might not be a student, it might just be a roommate, but most likely a student. It'll be better for you. So now, when I'm babbling away there, just so people understand what I'm doing, this is where I say I just know what to say. It just comes in and it comes out. And I know that it's literally not my thoughts. It's thoughts being put in so I can communicate them directly to Grahm. If you do a reading with me, that's how they go. And they can go, I mean, I've spent a whole hour on 2 topics, or I could spend an hour. Some readings I spend an hour on 15 topics. Really depends what the person needs and I've been using this word a lot now, in the now. My guides are really been pushing that we as a society need to stop living in the past and stop looking to the future, because really all we have is the now. It's 7:43 in Alberta. 7:42 already happened. We can't change it. 7:44 hasn't happened yet. Concentrate on what we're doing in 7:43. and life's going to be a whole lot better. That's been a message that I've been getting constantly throughout most of my readings lately.
So while you were doing that reading on connecting with my guide, it was a lot of just the claircognizant, the just like knowing what to say
Exactly.
for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's, I would say probably 70%, 80% of my readings are that way. When I get stuck, when I'm not understanding what they want me to say, they'll throw in a picture or they'll throw in a symbol that I then have to try to interpret.
And how do you know it's coming from like my guide necessarily? Like what differentiates that, if you're able to
That's really
explain it?
it's hard to say.
Okay.
It's like they're telling me to do this. Sorry. That's one pen, that's a different pen.
Mm.
I know this pen really well. And I also know this isn't that pen. It's
Mm.
does that make sense what I'm trying to say there? It's
Yeah.
literally that simple for me that I know my own thoughts and I know when I'm getting
That's
messages.
actually I feel like that's a really good way of explaining it.
Yeah, my guys,
Like
that wasn't me, guys. That wasn't me. That was my guides going, pick up the two pens. This is your thoughts. These are our thoughts. You know, they're two
yeah.
different things.
Because I feel that way too when I'm connecting with someone's guides. I'm like, okay, like this is what this is. Yeah, it's not necessarily it's not what I'm thinking. It's what
No,
I'm getting.
it's literally, and I know because I'm actually I don't usually live stream to my personal Facebook page, and I am for this. And I
Oh,
know there's
awesome.
lots of people out there that aren't in my spiritual community
Sure.
that are kind of tuning in, going, "What is Kevin smoking now?" But
Well,
I mean, as much as I can tell you that's a pen, I can tell you what I'm doing is real. And I'm not here to convince you that what I do or what Grahm does or what any channeler does is real, because it's not our job to convince you. And I tell people my job, my mission, my whatever you want to call it, is just pass messages from loved ones on the other side or spirit guides. Simple. That's what I do. If you want to hear it, book a session. I'll do my
mhm.
best. Again, there's some. I'm going to give you an example. There's sometimes we really, really struggle. I did a reading yesterday. I struggled through it, man. I literally got off and I was literally going to message this person saying that it was like my worst reading ever. It was horrible. I just could not, I couldn't translate what they were trying to tell me, or I couldn't get the messages properly. That person actually rebooked right away. And I was like, why are you rebooking like one day and the next? I usually tell people wait 6 weeks. But she was rebooking for her boyfriend. Her boyfriend did a reading today. And I'll be honest, it was probably one of my best readings I've ever done. It was probably in the top 3. It was amazing. So it's one of those you can struggle understanding the message, or some days it's just like anything else. You can go out, and I love to play poker. I can go out and play horrible at poker, or I can go out and have a great day playing poker. So it really depends on a lot of different factors. Do you find that as well, Graham?
Yeah, I find that I've even I've even had at certain expos, because I do some in-person shows too, where like I've done a reading for one person and it just just wasn't getting a lot of info. It wasn't going that great, and then the next person that sits down, it's like, wow, much better. And I've noticed that like I'm a factor in it too, but also like the person coming to get the reading too. I've just noticed that um, the more open someone is, and the more like open
Yes.
they are to like, yeah, like please give me a reading, and like aren't holding stuff back, not
Yeah.
necessarily consciously, but just like kind of like energy wise, the people are more open and not as guarded. Like I've noticed the information comes through a lot clearer when I'm working with those
Of
people, and
course.
usually more
Yes.
powerfully. And
Yes.
when they're not as open, sometimes, yeah, that that's not a direct all the time that way, but I've noticed just in general with the people that are more open, it's a lot easier to
Oh yeah.
connect.
And people, if you're going to do a reading, I don't care if you're doing a reading with me or Grahm or
Anyone?
Betty Sue down the road. If you're going in and you're going to have the attitude, he's going to have to guess. I'm not giving any information. The reading's not going to be much fun. Go in and be open. Be like, we're not here to try to mystify you or blow you away with our knowledge or our talent. We're here to help, especially with Grahm, because Grahm does more guide readings than what I do. I still do a lot, but Grahm focuses more on guides than what I would. He's there to help give you information and guidance from guidance on what's to help you through life. If you're holding stuff back or you're closed up, your reading's going to not go as well.
Well, and that's fair too, because I mean, I think too, it's like the people that are paying the money for the reading, like
that's a key there.
Like it can go if they want to try to like I've hardly have had that happen, but there's been a couple times where like that has happened. Like someone, I even have had a lady tell me that like she was deliberately trying to like block me from getting answers, which actually I was really glad she shared with me because I wasn't able to get a single thing for her. And that's the thing. Yeah. If you like block, or if you're like, no, I don't want them to get answers for me, like that intention's really powerful. And then like more likely than not, whoever's trying to do a reading for you is gonna have a really hard time getting answers for you. So
and yeah, I don't know why someone would actually pay to have a reading and then
I think if they just want to like test, like that's what it is, like wanting to like test and see, like make it hard.
You're not real, and I'm going to pay money to prove to you that you're not real.
But I mean, I don't really have any. I mean, if that's what you want to do, then fine. Like, I don't really.
Guess what? I still got paid to do the reading.
Well, and
right.
I mean, kind of like if that's what you want to do, okay. It's not necessarily super fun for us.
No,
but I don't know. Whatever.
It's what and like you say. I mean, I think I've had maybe one person
very rare
that I can think of that I've ever was like, why can't I read you? Like you, this is not fun for either of us. Like, okay, what am I doing?
But I think a lesson there too is that like if you're in general, like people aren't going to be able to like pick up on information for you, like in kind of a like you're protected. If you don't want people to get info for you, you have that ability to like be like no. That's powerful. So, you know, that's good to know too. Like people can't just brute force their way in and like pry open like what's going on with so and so.
And you can limit access as well. I've done many readings where they're dealing with something, and I'm like, okay, it's really weird because they're literally gonna only give me part of this information. And they're telling me the rest, but they don't want to discuss it. And that's happens more often than I care to mention. And my clients will go, oh, yeah, I know exactly what they mean.
Okay.
And I'll give them that little bit of the message, and it'll be either incredible laughter or they'll go, yeah, I get it. I get why they don't want to talk about it. Right. And it's like, well, I'm glad you two are communicating because I'm left out here in the dark. But quite often it happens.
Sometimes less is more like that.
Exactly. And I mean, there's some, especially family stuff that you don't want shared.
Well, and it can, and it can be different too if you're doing like a live reading on Facebook or
live
something
readings,
for everyone to.
When we do a Facebook mini readings, they're very general because you've got people. I was going to say thousands of people listening.
Maybe one day. I'm not going to
we
limit
we
ourselves at
we
all.
have we have but right now we have 13 people. So hey, that's not
Oh,
bad.
that's a lot, honestly.
It's been over 10 the whole time. So I mean, for our first go at it, it's not bad at all, buddy.
I want to bring up a different topic
Yes,
now
do.
too. And I think this is like a good question. Like how do you know? I guess I just like how do you know that you are getting a message? Like I think of for me, like knowing that the only way that I know now that like when I'm getting a message that I'm getting one is because I've practiced a lot and through like trial and error of like
Yes.
connecting, doing lots of hundreds of practice readings and being like, it's kind of stumbling through it and then being like, okay, like when I've given information like this and shared it with people, they're like, yes, that's bang on. That's accurate. Yes, that resonates for me. And then like in this other way, when I've been doing it, it hasn't been going as well. So like when I connect this way, yes, I am connecting with them.
Oh
But when
yeah.
I'm connecting in this other way, not. So
And
I think,
it's funny when I go back and look at I used to record. I don't record a lot anymore, but I used to record all my readings and then I'd put them up on
oh,
YouTube. But it was a private YouTube, so only the client and me could access it. But
oh,
I've gone
cool.
back and looked at some of my really early readings, and I just
Yeah.
laugh because I'll be like, "Well, they're showing me." I'll use my mom. They're showing me my mom. I have no idea why they're showing me my mom. Because
Yeah.
it was a like I say, it's a learn, like you said, it's a learning curve. Where now,
Oh, yeah.
they show me my mom for a soul coming through, I
Hmm.
instantly know it's a mother figure. So it's mother, grandmother, great grandmother. One of the three are coming through, and it's that instant now. Where before it was like, why are they showing me a picture of my mom? And
Yeah.
it would be like, I don't know. Oh, did your mom cross over? Now
Yeah.
it's like instant.
Yeah. It
They'll
comes through much easier.
right. They'll show it's different things. They'll show me my best friend's old house um, in Sicamous, which is like a resort area in BC. Um, and right away, I know it's like, are you planning a vacation? Because that was
Mm,
my getaway. So it's different symbols that we get, or I shouldn't say that I get, where I now can translate them. And again, the reason I'm bringing this up is because you had said lots of practice,
yeah.
right? Hundreds and hundreds of readings.
Well, I was just thinking of it too. If you think of like, for me, I play basketball. Like right when I started in like third and fourth and fifth grade, like it's even hard just getting it up to the hoop. But like now at this point playing basketball, like you don't even think about it. You just go and
Just
shoot
go.
and put it in the hoop. But it's because of all that practice beforehand. Now it's like automatic. Same thing with like the
Exactly.
readings, like
A,
that skill. It like
a dentist, a
gets built
surgeon,
up.
a psychologist. It doesn't matter what profession you want to choose. They all
Yeah,
had to practice what they do and learn how to
absolutely.
do it. It's the same thing with you and I. Hundreds of, like you say, literally hundreds and hundreds of readings, whether they be mini readings or full readings. You learn to interpret things properly quickly.
Hmm.
I mean, I look at you, Graham, and I remember when we first started doing live
Oh my
readings,
god, yeah.
you would be like this. I'm going to get a message.
Well, I was so scared starting
And you would be
too.
like 30 seconds of dead airspace, and then you'd
Yeah,
get the
well,
message,
yeah.
right?
It would
Now it's way quicker.
it's much quicker now, but it like you got to start where you are too if you're gonna, right? You just start where you are. And
Exactly.
but I totally agree. Like you talking about going back to look at some of your past readings, just me thinking of some of my readings like a little over a year ago. I'm like, man, I've come a long ways, and that feels great.
And we guys, people, we
And
still
there's
have a long way to
plenty to
go.
go.
I
Yeah.
mean, by any stretch, we haven't reached the top of of the profession, where it's so far down from the top, it's we need binoculars to look up. But I would say, I would say probably more than 90% of my readings are pretty damn accurate.
Yeah.
Or 90% of the content in each reading is pretty damn accurate. Will that
Yeah.
10% still seep through? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think you talked about it too. Sometimes it's just we'll get a message, but we just don't interpret it exactly correctly. So,
Yes.
say maybe like I get a message and it's about moving for someone. And maybe like I interpreted it to mean like, oh, it seems like they're talking about you wanting to move. But then it might be they say, oh, well, I actually just did move.
Yes.
So sometimes like because I know it's about moving, but then like the exact details of it might not be exactly accurate, or maybe it could
Exactly.
be, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something right
Well,
now,
I mean, if
something future based that hasn't happened that maybe we wouldn't interpret exactly
that happens quite often, and I
accurately.
tell people, for us to actually predict the
Well,
future
I'm
is
not saying of
tough.
predicting. I'm saying of like advice or guidance for
Yes.
something to do.
Yes. Yes.
Like maybe I get something for someone. It's about like starting their own business or something and going in that endeavor.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't pick up on the fact too, or maybe we just time wise we don't get there, that they want you to like do it like gradually, so not all at once dive into it, but like
Yeah.
slowly do it while you keep your job. I don't know.
Yeah. And there's lots of times where I'm like, especially with my mediumship, an equal, and it's usually with me, it's an equal. They show me literally someone coming in who's an equal. To me, that means cousin, sister, brother, friend. That's an equal to you.
Yeah,
Um,
same age.
and so many times, um, they'll come in and it'll be an equal, and I'll be, did you have a sibling cross? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I feel like your sister's coming through, and they're like, no, it's a cousin.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And I'm
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
were you guys really close, like sisters? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah, that's a good
there's the
example.
confusion,
That's a good example.
right? That actually happened to me today. That's why I used that one. It was like,
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was her sister coming through. When you,
Mhm.
I know you don't do a lot of mediumships, but when you do you get names?
I guess not really. I don't know. Honestly, people haven't really asked.
Yeah, see, I
I
don't
feel
get
like that's
names.
something that hasn't. But in general, or like sometimes I've had people ask me like, what is my guide's name? And I
I
don't
was
know
like, when they
why.
ask, what is my guide's name? And I'm like, your guide's a soul. He doesn't have a name. You can call
Yeah,
him whatever you want.
and that's typically what I get for people too. But I mean, I have names for some of my guides that
Of
just
course.
like it fits their personality well.
Yeah.
You know.
And that way
Um,
we as humans, because humans have a brain and our brain is logical. So it's easier for us to name something. I'm going to
yeah, it
use a pen. This
helps.
is a pen. This is a mouse, right? We know the difference because this is a pen. We named it. I'm Kevin. You're Graham. We know that because it's a name. It's easier to give our guides names. In reality, they're a soul. They've had, well, it depends how many lives they've lived, hundreds, thousands of names, because they're a soul just like you are. You have a soul. Your guides are literally in your spirit family in the spirit realm. I always point with my right hand to this wall, and there's a small little walk-in closet in this spare bedroom,
Nice.
and there's a Murphy bed on my, like, there's a
Yeah.
Murphy bed. When the grandkids come over, this is funny. When the grandkids come over, this is where they sleep. So I'm
Uh,
terrified they're going to watch one of these shows and think when I'm pointing that the other side is in that room, is in that closet, and they're not going to want to sleep in here.
they won't want to stay with you anymore then.
Exactly. Uh, but anyways, your spirit guides are literally spirit part of your spirit family in the astral realm. When you cross back over, You're one of them. They're not better than you. They're equals to you.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question too. I think, and I feel like maybe we're starting to kind of wrap up at some point. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens. But I want to ask you this question. Like, what is it like connecting with your guides kind of for in your daily life? Or like,
Oh,
how do you use, what's it like for you kind of on a day by day basis working with your guides? How do you communicate with your own guides? Is it a lot of the claircognizance with that
I'm
too?
gonna
Or?
go pre-COVID because it's changed since I got sick. So I'm gonna go
Sure.
pre-COVID. When I was actually had a full-time job and was working
Yeah,
from
yeah.
that. um, and I used to tell Graham this all the time. Still am, literally connected to my guides 24 hours a day. Well, yeah, even when I'm sleeping, I guess I'm connected. I'm just not aware I am. But and they hate it when I say it this way, but I use them on a regular basis. Um, it's Man, should I say this? Yeah. Hi, Ellie. Uh, when Ellie and I are having a heated discussion, I
Hmm.
will use my guides to give me directions on where to steer that conversation so it de-escalates it.
Hmm.
That's a common one for me.
Hmm.
But you literally, when you're connected to your guides, you can ask your guides anything during the day, on what's the best for you. They're not going to give you the winning lottery numbers. I've tried numerous times and he keeps telling me no. And I'm like, well, but it's today, so it's not really the future. You can give me the winning lottery numbers. And they keep saying no, they won't give me the winning lottery numbers, which kind of sucks. But it's questions like, um, I'm trying to think of an example that I've when I was working, I sell cars for a living. I literally would use my guides when I'm conversing with a client in, and I do when I'm doing readings as well. Is it better to say A or is it better to say B? And it's a
Hmm.
quick boom, B, and you just go with it. Um, Never let me down.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now you don't feel like you're connected 24/7.
I guess I operate a little differently where you use your guides like a lot in your daily life. I've gone through different periods where I've like used them a lot and not used them as much. Lately, honestly, I haven't been using my guides that much in my daily life other than kind of with more bigger decisions, trying to help me figure out like kind of for like housing stuff, what apartment to look at, or
Yeah.
like what major should I look at, more bigger items like that. I'll seek out their guidance, but I've started to notice more too that like e- there's not always like a strictly best answer. Like there's not,
No.
like a lot of times it's really like um say for like housing, oh yeah, this place is pretty good and this place is pretty good, so
What was my answer to you this evening when you asked me about housing? I'm like, they all are good.
yeah, right, like there's like, and so then I don't know, but I've noticed like I've gone through periods where I've really tried to channel them like or be connected with them a lot, and I just, it ends up like, well, I've just gone through periods of feeling like I have to, or like I have some obligation that I always have to be connected,
Yeah, you
and
don't.
this just wasn't
Yeah.
really fun. And I feel like now like I enjoy just kind of living my life and like trusting my own self too, to like even intuitively just like feeling, using my own kind of
Oh God,
soul
dude.
guidance, which is
I'm
really a
glad
form
you
of
said
channeling
that.
too, but
Yes,
really of
I'm.
just being in tune with myself and like, yes, this decision feels good. And, you know, I'm not necessarily using my guide for it, but just even just tuning in with myself, it feels good. So I'm going to
And when
go
you get
for it.
that intuition, and a lot of people who don't channel, haven't been taught to channel, they'll get that intuition or that gut
Hmm.
feeling. That gut feeling a lot of times is your guide sending you information without being able to channel, right?
Or it can
So
be like your soul, or a mixture, honestly. Yeah. It's not just guides or like that's what I've kind of learned too, because I felt like through working with Ken, he really focuses on spirit guides a lot.
yes.
And I've like too, but he also, when I've done one-on-one sessions with him too, he's talked about, but yeah, like you can totally use your soul and your
Oh
higher
yeah,
self to for guidance as well. And
exactly.
what I've really liked, that I know Ken's talked with me about too, is that at the end of the day, we are the ones that get to make the decision as to what we want to do with our lives.
We
You know,
all
we
have
can,
free will,
right. And so
right?
like, you know, using our guides, our soul, whatever it is to help give us guidance. But then, you know, we do get to steer the ship. And sometimes that
Exactly.
means making, you know, not the most optimal decisions, but even if you do, you always learn
And
from
sometimes your
everything, right?
guides, because you have a purpose of being here, and
Yeah.
you'll ask your guides which is the best for me, and they'll steer you down path A. Well, path A might not be the easiest path. Sometimes
Yeah.
it can be pretty damn bumpy, but
Yeah.
that was the purpose. That's why you went down that path.
Yeah.
It's not for us to. We don't know our plan. We have to live it, um, knowing that we've made a plan and try to live it the best we can through our guides' assistance. I'll say,
Yeah. Hmm.
dude, this has been
I want
awesome.
I want to share one other point
Yes.
too. Kind of talking about how I've used my guides too. I feel like I still like another reason why I don't know. I still kind of doubt my ability to use my own guides to an extent, and so then I don't I don't know. But when I'm doing readings with people, I feel like because I'm not, it's not as personal for me. Like I'm not as invested in the information for someone else because it's for their life too. It's easier for me to just connect and then
Right.
give them the information. But when I'm
Yes.
catching myself, I'm like, okay, I really a lot of times want it to be this answer, or I'm like,
Because
kind of,
that's the
it's more of a
logical part of your
battle.
brain. Yes. Because now
Well,
you're
well,
dealing
well,
with
because it's
spiritual and
my,
logical at the same time.
well, it's because
Right.
it's
So it's
my
like
life.
the logical part of your brain's going, no, I want to go have fun. The
Yeah,
spiritual part of your
right.
brain's
Or
going, but it would be better if we did. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
understand.
that
I've been
too.
there.
Um,
My friend, this has
yeah,
been a blast.
yeah. What time do we got?
It's
Been an hour
yeah,
ish.
it's been just over an hour. I was like, it's over an hour, but we started late.
That's okay. We got to figure it out.
It's Kevin. Anybody who's watched my Sunday sessions know I'm not technically inclined, so they were waiting. They knew.
Yeah, this was
But in
fun
all
though.
seriousness, this has been great,
Yeah,
and I really look forward to our doing this on a regular basis now.
I think too. For future ones, it would be nice, or if just earlier we just share that, like, put questions in the chat if you have in general questions that you want to talk about.
Yeah, we could look at that as well.
Yeah, cool.
What is Graham up to? What's the name of your business?
Yeah, so for readings, Heart Centered Channeling on Facebook. That's my Facebook page, and I do readings pretty much every day of the week if you're interested. And I also do in-person shows if you happen to be in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area. Not as many during the summer, but in the spring and fall, various little in-person fairs
Nice.
throughout the Minnesota, Wisconsin area. So,
Those are
and
cool.
Kevin,
And don't forget, he will be making the trip for a visit, and then we're gonna pull him up on stage while he's here to do. It's Graham. We've talked about this in the past, and I've honestly, I'm going to go back 6 months ago. I told Graham, for some reason, I keep seeing Graham and I on a stage, and just like they do dueling pianos, we're going to do dueling mediums. And sure enough, July 2nd has provided that opportunity.
Oh my God.
And that's what's going to happen.
That's what I'm getting into.
That's what you're getting into. It's going to be
Perfect.
a blast. It's only going to be like 20, 25 minutes. It's going to be a short little presentation.
Oh my God.
The expo is based on speakers. It's not like a vendor expo. It's more of spiritual speakers. Ken Lewicki, for people who don't know him, these plaques on the wall are the courses both Grahm and I took through Ken, through Channeling Inc. Channelinginc.com is his webpage. Ken Lewicki, Channeling Inc. on Facebook. You can learn. He teaches people to channel. I probably am his biggest supporter. If he can teach me to do this and get me as excited as I am to do it, he can teach anybody. But personally, what I'm doing is I'm doing readings, of course. Cavelli Channeling, probably the page most of you are watching who know me. You can click on the book now. Gives you all my availability. I'm not going to talk about pricing, but pricing will be. I have a special on right now. Go to the Facebook page to see it, and that will be changing probably. I'm guessing the end of the month, but we'll see how that goes as we get closer to the end of the month.
And too, we had someone wanting the link for more details on the Kenmore Expo.
Once we get the Facebook page done, I will be posting it all over the place. Christina Paul, I saw that as well, and I went, I don't have anything I can post right now.
Yeah.
But once it's
it'll be July 2nd in Kenmore.
July 2nd at the Kenmore Opera House. In Kenmore. You can Google it. It's the only Kenmore Opera House. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be Ken Lewicki is going to do a presentation on how to channel. He's going to give two, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. I think there's 4 others, including Grahm and I. There's 4 others. There's going to be all kinds of readers, all kinds of healers, and all kinds of local businesses local to Kenmore. For people out of town, Kenmore is just before you get to the Banff National Park. It's the last city outside the park, and then you've got Banff. So there's going to be a lot of local businesses, vendors there as well.
Right on.
Dude,
does it.
Thank you, my friend. This has been fun.
Thank
everybody.
You, and thank
Sorry
you
about the start,
watching.
but I think we recovered
got
from
up and
that.
Going. Yeah.
Until next month, probably going to be. Did we decide that we were going to do it the third Thursday of every month, Grahm?
I mean, are we deciding right now? It sounds like we are. I don't remember.
We'll
if
post
we did
it,
or
folks.
not.
We'll post it.
We'll see what happens sometime next month. Yeah.
Sounds good. You take care, and we'll see you all next month.